looks more like the man than the woman. Evolution in progress. How's everybody doing out there in classified captures land? This is your main man, Steve, and welcome to another episode. Why don't we go and take a look and see what's spooky out there? We got this clip from a man who was allegedly going home one evening when he noticed there was a strange creature in his path. It was small and unnaturally lanky, wearing a tattered gray garment that looked old and worn. The man might have noticed the creature some seconds prior, which is why he might have started recording. His breathing, however, gets heavier when he notices the creature start to move. It didn't even move as a normal person would. It walked backwards. The man didn't wait too long to find out what else the creature could do. He also ran. I did some research on what this could possibly be and discovered that there are a lot of strange and dark creatures that walk backwards in the woods at night in ancient culture. This particular one is most likely related to the Chirel and the Pitchalpiri. The name Pitchalpiri roughly translates to backwards-footed fairy in some South Asian languages. I could be wrong though. Not everyone buys it though. Some think it was an act put in place to go viral. See the strong overhead lights supposedly in a dark path that's hardly traveled by people. Yeah, that to some is enough evidence that this isn't real. So what do you think though? Next, we got this clip with a string of strange lights. Do you see it? Do you know any human crafts that could have lights like that? If you answered no, well, you aren't alone. It's you and me both. The individuals filming this believe they're looking at a UFO, given the way the lights are arranged and the way they're moving. They believe they've got a bit of a UFO situation on their hand or camera. Not everyone felt the same though. Some pointed out they'd seen something similar in their neighborhood and that it turned out to be nothing more than Starlink satellites. Some also said it's not Starlink but Geo satellites. Now I'm no expert in this, so I won't pretend to know which one that might be. This particular comment, however, well, it made me chuckle. Yeah, some actually believed it might be Santa. What say you?
Yo!
Yo!
That's a UFO, dude.
Yo!
Oh my God! I bet one.
That is not a
Apple
plane.
ass. Look at my camera.
There's no way.
I mean, from afar, it's kind of convincing, I guess. It could be like a merfolk. It looks more like the man than the woman kind, but the closer it gets to the camera, I can't say I'm that convinced. But you tell me what you think.
I sit for hours, telling all the bluebirds.
Gulliver's Travels.
Birds, little baby.
I mean, this is, the whole pareidolia, once again, that word I can't say. No. No. I understand where people are coming from, but I really don't think there's such a thing as petrified giants. I mean, how can there be? If giants are basically made of the same flesh, skin, blood, all the stuff that we are, then why aren't we all petrified like that, you know? Yeah, that's not how this works. I don't think. You tell me. Still on strange things in the sky, take a look at this one. What do you think the helicopter is chasing? It doesn't appear to have a form or shape that's similar to any of the crafts on the platform. Aside from that, this thing appears to mostly be made of light. There's no human craft that uses that much light in flight. Use the helicopter as a reference. See how much light that one appears to have. Yeah. This one's too much. The man filming also mentions that there's a burning and strange smell coming from the strange craft. He believes it's alien, and everyone who saw the clip agrees with him. You've seen it, so you tell me what you think.
Yo. That is a freaking orb. That's an orb being chased by a helicopter. What the hell?
Take a look at these billionaires and celebrities. What do they have in common? Hint. Take a look at their eyes. Do you see it? Yeah, they all appear to be having some sort of black eye. Do you know the odd thing about these black eyes? Well, these guys suddenly became famous after experiencing these black eyes. It's almost as though the black eye was the key to their breakthrough. If it were just one person, we could have ruled it out as coincidence, but as you can see from the clip, there's a whole bunch of them. Robert Downey Jr. received $50 million after only receiving $5 million in his previous movie. What changed? Maybe a lot, maybe just the bruise. Elon experienced the same in May 2025. After the bruise, he received over $1 trillion for his business. What changed? We don't know. Somehow the stars aligned after the bruise and his struggling companies received the boost. Time won't allow me to talk about George W. Bush, Richard Branson, etc. They all received the bruise, wore it publicly, and then had their breakthrough. It's believed they belong to the Black Eye group. The eye is supposed to be proof of their initiation. Almost everyone in the paranormal community believes this, and I can't see why they won't. There are some who also feel like it's all a coincidence. They add that these celebrities lived their whole lives in the public space, so if they had an accident, we'd obviously see it. While that sounds logical, it fails to explain the sudden increase in wealth after the injury. You've heard both sides, so tell me what you think. Next, we visit Lincoln, where something strange appeared in the sky some days ago. Yeah, that's definitely not normal. The individual who uploaded it believes that these things were caused by aliens, and personally when I saw it, I believed he was onto something. I've never seen clouds look like that. If I were in his shoes, I had gotten into my car, taken my family, and driven very far away. Naturally, the community was divided on this. Some said there had to be more to this. Others felt it was a sign Lincoln would have some trouble later on. A few others who identified as scientists stated that this was most likely bubble clouds before a tornado. And I did some digging around and discovered that bubble clouds before a tornado is a phrase often used online to describe strange-looking clouds that appear before severe storms. They usually look like large, round, pouch-like formations hanging from the underside of a cloud, almost like bubbles floating in the sky, just like we see in the clip. The big question now is, do we have an impending alien invasion, or was this just a bizarre weather phenomenon? Not AI, not CGI, those are actual flying fish. For someone seeing them for the first time, it looks like nature has broken one of its own rules. Fish are supposed to swim, not launch themselves into the air and glide above the ocean. But flying fish are very real, and they've evolved in one of the most incredible escape techniques in the marine world. Using their powerful tails, they build speed underwater before bursting out of the waves and spreading their large fins to glide through the air for tens of meters. They do this to escape predators like tuna and dolphins, turning the ocean's surface into their own temporary runway. They may not fly like birds, but these fish have mastered one of nature's most surprising survival tricks. Now I got another strange story for you, and this one feels like an extension of Alice in Wonderland. People in Yemen reported seeing little men. Yeah, you heard that right. After consuming a certain wild mushroom, some people experienced something that sounds impossible: tiny human-like figures moving around them. The mushroom behind these strange reports is called Lan-Moa asiatica. Some people described seeing miniature figures walking through their surroundings almost as if they discovered a hidden world existing right alongside our own. Makes you wonder if there are things around us that we simply cannot perceive, and could certain substances act like glasses for the mind, revealing a reality hidden from our ordinary senses? Of course, the scientific explanation is much less supernatural. Researchers believe compounds in the mushroom can interfere with the brain's visual processing, causing a rare hallucination known as Lilliputian hallucinations, where people see tiny figures or objects that feel completely real. And this is also why wild mushrooms should never be eaten without proper knowledge. Many species can be extremely dangerous, and telling the difference between a safe mushroom and a toxic one can be nearly impossible without training. Yep, those are moving lights. Well, nothing extraordinary, right? Well, wrong. The man filming this states that those lights had been following him everywhere. He thinks they're aliens, and at first I dismissed this as one of the clips until I saw this comment. I then decided to do a little digging about Min lights, and I discovered that deep in the Australian outback, there are stories of mysterious glowing orbs known as the Min lights. For generations, travelers and locals have reported seeing strange lights hovering in the distance, sometimes appearing to follow them across the dark desert landscape. But some of the most unsettling stories claim the people who followed these lights never returned. If that's indeed what's going on here, this guy is one lucky guy. Something strange has been happening in parts of Ohio. Quiet towns, rural roads, places that should feel familiar, yet the stories coming out of them say otherwise. Across different countries, witnesses have described seeing a tall bipedal creature with canine features. A couple in a rural area reported a wolf-like creature standing upright, watching them with glowing eyes before disappearing into the dark. Another resident claimed to have seen a muscular, human-like creature with long ears sprinting across a field on two legs. In a separate account, a student spoke of repeated disturbances at his home, something walking the driveway at night, knocking on doors, and even taking livestock before vanishing when confronted. A truck driver recalled seeing a creature crouched by the roadside feeding on a deer, something he described as a mix of between an ape and a dog. And going further back, multiple sightings in the 1970s told of a similar figure, tall, hunched, and aggressive, even triggering panic in a small town. One of the most disturbing accounts came from near the Ohio River, where a group exploring an abandoned site encountered a creature with glowing yellow eyes. The encounter turned violent, leaving one of them injured, though authorities dismiss it as a wild animal. Different locations, different people, the same description. So now, the question has to be asked, does Ohio have a dogman problem? Because when you line up these encounters, it stops sounding like a coincidence. Are the authorities aware of what's really going on out there? And if they are, why does it feel like no one is talking about it? If you want, I can make this hit harder with a stronger hook or a more unsettling ending. Ha!
Oh, you got me.
Man, geese scare the hell out of me. When I was a kid, I had a friend that had a pet geese. And it hated everybody, pet goose, hated everybody except my friend Alex. We used to get drunk, we were probably 15, 16 years old, and we'd have this game where we'd pull down our pants and then see it chase us around the garden. And the one time that I fell, this goose attacked the living hell out of me. So yeah, geese and me, we don't really get on, but it's funny anyway.
What do you want? Nope. All right. Oh, you got me.
Playing that works?
I did get a gratuitous butt bite.
Imagine giving birth once, then again, and again, until the number reaches 69 children. Well, this is the incredible story of Valentina Vasilieva. I hope I pronounced that right. A Russian woman who's said to hold the record for the most children born to a single mother. According to historical accounts, between the 1700s and the 1760s, Valentina gave birth 27 times, including 16 sets of twins, 7 sets of triplets, and 4 sets of quadruplets. Now, before we even talk about the numbers, take a moment to think about the reality behind this story. The physical and emotional toll of pregnancy, childbirth, and raising children on that scale is almost impossible to imagine. Part of you cannot help but feel sympathy for what she may have endured. But at the same time, there's also a level of respect, because if this was truly her choice and the life she wanted, then it represents a commitment and strength that is difficult to comprehend. This is not paranormal in the usual sense. There are no ghosts, creatures, or unexplained forces involved, but it is paranormal in the sense that it's far outside what we consider normal human experience. The human body, under rare circumstances, is capable of things that sound almost unbelievable. Whether every detail of the record is completely accurate or not, the story of Valentina Vasilieva remains one of the most extraordinary examples of human endurance, motherhood, and the strange extremes of what is possible. Jeez, I bet every time she sat with her legs open and her husband called a name, it echoed. Whew. That does not look normal. I was tempted to call it a balloon, but it's moving a tad too fast for a balloon. It actually seems to be an aircraft. The individual filming thinks it's a drone. The paranormal community thinks it's a sham. Actually, well, not everyone, just the majority. There are some who actually believe this could be real. They claim alien ships sometimes take the form of stupid things so we can ignore clips like this. Well, I'm not sure how I feel about that explanation, but you guys have also seen the clip, so tell me what you think.
இங்க இருந்தே நல்லா இருக்குல்ல இந்த ட்ரோன் பாருங்களா ட்ரோனு
அந்த மேலே
அட பாவீங்களா
அது ட்ரோன் அது இல்லை இல்லை இந்த பறவை மாதிரி தெரியுது
என்ன யூஎஃப்ஓ எதுக்கும் பின்னாடி யூஸ் ஆகட்டும்.
Now we move to Western Canada, where another strange object was seen by many residents moving across the sky. One person who works with CBC News was actually able to capture this, and it went viral. It was even featured on TV. They tried to go with the weather balloon explanation. That was until an expert mentioned it might have something to do with the SpaceX launch. Others have shared their thoughts. They believe the government had no option but to acknowledge this one because lots of people saw it. One person mentioned it might be a Scud cloud. These are low-hanging, ragged clouds that form beneath larger storm systems. Because they move quickly, change shape, and can appear to twist or drift across the sky, they're sometimes mistaken for strange objects or even UFOs. They're simply caused by moisture and turbulent air around storms. But when viewed from the ground, they can look incredibly unusual. While everyone is trying to find the explanation, there's one thing that fascinates me. See how it's not so different from the other clips we feature? Just the meme we've been calling fake all this time something that was actually real? Think about it. Stanley Meyer's story is one of those mysteries that sits right between science and conspiracy. In the 1980s, Meyer claimed he had created a water fuel cell that could allow a car to run using water as fuel. He demonstrated a dune buggy that he said was powered by his technology, and soon people began believing he had discovered something that could completely change the future of energy. But then came the controversy. Some believe his invention threatened powerful oil companies and that his work was deliberately hidden. Things became even more mysterious when Meyer suddenly died in 1998, with some conspiracy theorists claiming he was silenced because of what he'd discovered. However, These are the facts. Meyer did create patents related to hydrogen technology, and he did demonstrate a vehicle he claimed used this system. But scientists who examined his claims found no evidence that his technology could produce more energy than it consumed, and his water fuel cell has never been independently proven to work. So was Stanley Meyer a genius who was ahead of his time, or was his invention misunderstood? Was there more to his story? Or is this just another case where science explains the mystery? Let me know what you think.
So this technology has taken us down to the water fuel cell water fuel injector, as you see here today, which gives us a very economical way of simply converting and running a conventional car on natural water.
Now, imagine you're sitting in your security booth monitoring the evening shift when you see your colleague shake hands with the air, speak to it, and then go sit. Well, that's sure to freak anyone out. But that's exactly what's happening in the clip right now. This was recorded while two security guards were on a night shift. The one in the booth left to ask his colleague what he was doing, and that is when confusion set in. He said he only gave the kind man directions as he was lost, and this shocked the one in the booth because no one showed up on camera. He eventually showed the man the footage, and that shook them both. The man who spoke to the invisible being stated he felt something was wrong when he engaged with the man, being or person, and not sure what to call it at this point. He even mentioned that when he turned around, the man was gone, but he thought nothing of it because perhaps he might have quickly left because he was in a hurry. One of them uploaded the footage asking what this meant. Everyone was of the view that they'd met a ghost, but that was a reality they were not ready to accept. If I had $1 for every time something strange happened during a night shift, I'd be a billionaire by now. I mean, after all, this is classified captures, but if any of you experienced something similar, please share in the comments section. Next, we head to the skies of Russia, where someone claims they captured a UFO flying by their commercial plane. As interesting as that sounds, the footage ends up being underwhelming. I mean, it does feature a UFO, but the way the UFO moves close to the plane without causing any damage is questionable. Also, if this happened, it would have shown up in the news. If the government didn't want it going out, the security services would have wiped the phones of the passengers once they got down. I'm starting to suspect that someone did this for their 5 minutes of fame. That's what I think, though. But you never know. I could be wrong. It's not like I haven't been before. This clip looks like something straight out of the early 2000s, and that's probably what makes it so interesting. The low-quality footage, the way it was recorded, and the overall look of it almost makes you wonder if this could have been a genuine encounter from a time before CGI became so advanced. But then again, there's one thing that makes me question it. If this were a real creature standing that close to someone, well, how did the person filming get away safely? Why did the creature allow someone to stand there and record it without reacting? The creature being claimed here is a manticore, a legendary beast from ancient mythology. It's usually described as having the body of a lion, the face of a human, and sometimes a tail with venomous spikes. Stories of the manticore originated from ancient Persia and later spread into European folklore, where it became known as a dangerous and mysterious creature. Personally, I remain skeptical about this one. The creature looks fascinating, but the circumstances around the footage raise more questions than answers. Is this an old piece of convincing fake footage and AI creation, or could there be something more to it? What do you think? Share your thoughts. Now, this clip showed up on our feed, and I initially thought nothing of it until a team member asked me why the jet ski disappeared. I then went back to scrutinize the clip and noticed that the body of the jet ski seemed to disappear, leaving only the lights of the machine moving across the water. After a few seconds, those disappear too before the jet ski suddenly reappears with a flash of lightning. I checked the comments to see what people had to say. Some believe it was genuine footage, while others felt the video had been edited or manipulated. But you've seen the clip, so tell me what you think. Was this a strange camera glitch, a trick of the lightning, or something that was deliberately altered? Share your thoughts. Science has discovered a new way to influence brain activity. It's called the neural entrainment. This technique uses specific sound frequencies to alter brain function, and research suggests it may even help reduce anxiety. By exposing the brain to rhythmic stimuli, such as sound waves or light pulses, neural activity can synchronize with those external frequencies, potentially leading to improved focus, relaxation, and emotional balance. It's fascinating how something as simple as sound can have such a powerful effect on the mind. Could this be the future of mental health treatments? Take a look at this clip of Elon Musk during President Trump's inauguration. Out of nowhere, he's rotating his neck in a strange, almost mechanical way, while his eyes scan the room with an oddly calculated gaze. Elon Musk has been a hot topic in the paranormal community for a long time. The most popular conspiracy theory about him is that he's not human at all. He's either a reptilian or a robot, and honestly, it's hard not to entertain these ideas when you see some of his questionable public behavior. This moment, for example, makes his movements seem eerily robotic. That said, let's not forget that Musk had neck surgery to replace a herniated disc due to an injury years ago that left him with chronic back pain. Could this explain his unnatural movements, or do you still believe the possibility that he's not entirely human? I mean, he could be a robot rebooting, and that wouldn't sound too far off. Have you ever wondered how the ancients looked at our celestial bodies during an eclipse? Well, I have a useful tip that will enhance your eclipse viewing experience. Instead of purchasing expensive eclipse glasses or finding other ways to view the eclipse directly, you can use a simple household item to create a projection of the eclipse. All you need is a bucket or bowl of water and a sunny vantage point. By placing the bucket or bowl of water in a spot where it can reflect the eclipse, the reflection will project onto the surface inside the container, allowing you to view the eclipse safely and clearly without staring directly at the sun. This method is a safe and cost-effective alternative to traditional eclipse viewing methods. Be sure to give it a try during the next eclipse. It seems that not only planes can experience mid-air mishaps. Recently, this fascinating video surfaced on YouTube. In the clip, we can see a bird that appears to be stuck in mid-air. This phenomenon is often associated with a glitch in the matrix, a term used to describe unexplainable occurrences that defy the laws of physics and reality as we know them. The video, which has since gone viral, shows the bird suspended in the air, seemingly frozen in time, with its wings spread out as if it were flying or at least trying to fly. Now, is this another case of the parallax effect as well? Well, I doubt that. The angle from which the clip is being shot should not lead to the effect. This leaves us with a couple of possibilities. The bird is indeed frozen in time, there's a glitch in the matrix, or this is CGI. At least that was my hypothesis. I gleaned through a number of the comments on the original post and found something rather interesting. This user, for instance, stated that the issue only existed because the FPS on cam was not in sync with the speed at which the bird was flapping its wings. Another mentioned that it might just be a kite. As varied and diverse as these opinions were, a majority of those in the community believed this was real and possibly a glitch of some sort. Back in 2021, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia announced a groundbreaking development initiative called The Line. It's a futuristic city plan to be built in the desert, and announcements sent shockwaves around the world. Many people were skeptical about the project, but it seems Saudi Arabia is determined to make it happen. Take a look at this recent drone footage of the project. Construction has already begun, with massive infrastructure excavation cutting through the mountainous terrain. What do you think about this ambitious project? Is it a good idea, or is it too futuristic to be practical? Have you ever wondered what the world would look like when AI is at its peak? Well, take a look at this and tell me why it feels like a very accurate demonstration of it. Robot dogs walking in the streets, flying cars zipping through the air, drones buzzing everywhere, and humanoid robots strolling on the sidewalks. It's like something straight out of a sci-fi movie, but it feels eerily possible. This vision of the future is both fascinating and a little unsettling. What year do you think this could become a reality? 2050, 2100, or sooner than we expect? Hold on to your hiking boots, because there's a mountain mystery unfolding at the Lone Peak Mountains. A resident sees a figure casually walking up the mountain, moving with eerie ease. Now here's the twist. It looks almost human, but with the size and build that's definitely not human. A quick zoom and it's clear this isn't your typical mountain hiker. Given the area is notorious for Bigfoot sightings, the individual concluded that we may just be dealing with the elusive cryptid. He couldn't follow or get any closer, so we'll have to make do with this clip. What do you think, though? Could it really be a Bigfoot, or is he just seeing what he wants to see? A group of kids, curious and courageous, rush into a farmland drawn by mysterious noises echoing from within. Just as they approach, the source of the commotion takes off at warp speed straight into the clouds. And what do they discover? A flattened maize field and a UFO zipping across the sky. UFO sights have become so common these days, it feels like any moment from now we'll see aliens knocking at our front doors to ask for a glass of water. As much as I love alien clips and want to believe this is real and authentic, it just feels very unreal. It looks like one of those amateur student films, which makes me believe someone created this looking for their 5 minutes of fame. Given we featured this clip on the channel, it's safe to say they've achieved their aim. Scientists just don't know when to stop, and as if the world potentially being taken over by robots and AI isn't enough, they've now managed to create a mini human brain. This brain was made from stem cells and mouse embryos. It's said to have the capacity of a premature baby and has already done some incredible things. For example, it was connected to a video game, and just within 5 minutes the brain learned how to play it. In another experiment, they attached the brain to a butterfly and it quickly learned how to fly, adapting almost instantly to living as a butterfly. This is a groundbreaking achievement, but how far should we go with this kind of research? Moving on, a woman was at home when she noticed an orb floating around her room. Naturally, she did what everything in 2025 would do, grab her phone to record it instead of running away. While filming, however, something far more unsettling in the background caught her attention. It was a huge face. You could clearly see its eyes, and as you watched closely, the eyes blinked sideways. The face seemed to be peeking out from behind the doorframe, almost as if it was watching her. Now, I don't know about what the homeowner did after this happened, but it's definitely the kind of thing that would leave anyone shaken. We often associate orbs with aliens or paranormal activity, so is that what this was? Was there an alien lurking in the corner of the room, or is there another explanation for what's going on here? I know some of you are waiting for Julius's take, and, well, the honest truth is, he said nothing. After he watched the clip and I read out my script to him, he just shook his head and walked out as though I'd wasted his time. I won't think much of it, but that's it. He said nothing. Under the tranquil veil of night, another TikToker stumbled upon a sight that was both enchanting and enigmatic.
Oh my dude, I wish I had a better camera.
A beam of orange light pierced through the darkness, delicately kissing the earth below. But this was no celestial event or distant star. It was the captivating display of artillery illumination rounds. At least, that's what Julius would have us believe.
On the parts that aren't dark.
Dude, that shit is fucking tripping me out.
These rounds, commonly employed in military operations, serve as a dual purpose, illuminating the night sky to enhance visibility and exposing the surrounding terrain. The orange glow, set against the inky backdrop of the night, created a surreal atmosphere, transforming the ordinary into something otherworldly and mesmerizing. I know this explanation doesn't convince you, but that's what skeptics like Julius are pushing. The believers in the paranormal like Aaron, however, believe we could be looking at a portal to another dimension or a rift of some sort. Instead of stating my stance on the subject, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you think?
The phone doesn't even do it justice of what we're seeing.
Oh, there's another one.
Yeah, they're falling out of the sky. Look, that one's just sitting there.
Let's turn our attention to the charming cityscape of Vicenza, Italy, where an extraordinary architectural wonder takes center stage. In this mesmerizing scene, an onlooker gazes out of a window only for us to see a large body of water. It's almost as though the whole area has been submerged in a pool. Not much context was given, so we can't tell if we're dealing with a structure that has always been like this or one that's dealing with heavy floods or rains. Whatever the case, you have to agree that that's some serious bit of architectural engineering. I don't know if there are many homes in the US that could survive something like this. Simply remarkable. Remember that story about the woman who bought a 25-year-old house? Well, there's an update on the mysterious book she found under the floorboards, and things just got even creepier. First, she stumbled upon an old dart game in one of the rooms. 2 darts were lodged in the board, but a third dart was suspended in mid-air, slowly rotating as if held by an invisible hand. If that doesn't scream haunted, well, I don't know what does. But the real chilling discovery came when she finally opened the book. Inside were Victorian-era photographs. Some were individual portraits of stern-faced men and women, while others captured the house and its rooms from centuries past. At first glance, the photos seemed ordinary, but upon closer inspection, something unsettling emerged. In every single photo of the room, a shadowy figure lurked in the background. Its shape was indistinct, but its presence was unmistakable. Always watching, always there. Unless this woman has a penchant for sharing her home with spectral roommates from the 1800s, it might be time to reconsider her living situation. After all, some house guests are better left in the past. Let's take a look at this very curious footage of Katy Perry. She was at an event standing outside with a lot of security and photographers around her, but something feels off. She's looking in one particular direction with this odd glow in her eyes, and she's not blinking. It looks very unnatural, almost inhuman. Is she one of those shape-shifting creatures people talk about, or could she even be a robot? We all know about the conspiracy that certain celebrities might not be entirely human, but shapeshifters and glitches like this are evidence of it. Others think it could just be a coincidence, but still, it's hard to ignore how eerie this moment is. What do you think? Now, I know all the talk about glitches and what have you can be weird, but there are a number of videos on the internet that seem to support the fact that we're living in a simulation. Take a look at this one, for instance. How, I ask again, how? How does it keep burning even after it's been disconnected? A number of individuals made jokes like this, and quite frankly, I can understand them because it's not something you would expect to see every day. Almost everyone who saw it called it a glitch. A few individuals, however, believed it was great editing and CGI. I get why they might think that, but is it true though? Is this truly computer-generated imagery? Well, given the limited information we have, whatever we decide is the case will be like taking a leap of faith. This time, however, I would leave the final conclusion to you. What do you think is going on here? Stepping away from robotics, did you know only 2% of your DNA codes are for proteins, with up to 98% of your genome not coding for anything? This is something scientists refer to as dark matter. Nobody knows the exact functions of these DNA and RNA sequences or why they're even present at all. One thing scientists can, however, agree on when it comes to dark matter is that it helps in regulating and determines how nearby genes are expressed and in which type of cells. Scientists have found thousands of genes in the dark matter, and yet, despite their dedication to uncovering the truth, they don't know what these do, not even their role in disease. They've also established that a number of the dark matter regions remain the same in humans, mice, and other living creatures such as chickens. Scientists concluded that although they didn't know what these were or how they functioned, they must be vital to our survival, especially when you take into consideration our evolution over millennia. In a study, some researchers altered the dark matter of some mice, and it led to abnormalities in their brains. They then concluded that dark matter could be related to brain diseases like Alzheimer's. Interesting, don't you think? Well, wait till you find out that up to 50% of the material in your gut does not match any other living creature in our known world. Wild, right? But that's a story for another day. This mermaid performer works at a Chinese aquarium, and during one of her shows, something terrifying happens. While she was performing in the water, a large fish swam above her. Suddenly, its mouth suctioned around her head, swallowing it whole. After a few tense seconds, the fish spat her out and swam away. The woman quickly swam out of the tank and emerged with a scratch above her eye. That was a close call, but what kind of fish was it? After some research, I discovered it was a massive sturgeon. Well, luckily sturgeons don't eat humans, which is why she came out alive. It likely mistook her for food. While everyone gives the young woman the needed attention, no one's thinking about that fish. Imagine trying to have a piece of shrimp and it turns out to be the creature much larger than you. Poor guy. Still on cryptic messages, we've got a series of clips you'll want to see. These videos were taken by residents in New York and Arizona. They captured a strange sentence displayed in the sky, and it read, "Read between the lies, #paradise." Now, what does that mean? There's already a lot of strange stuff going on, so what's the deal with this cryptic message? Who could have done this and why? What do they know to send something like this out there?
It's so cool.
Before you dispel the bird clip, take a look at this one. We only get to see them drop out of nowhere. I have seen this clip before, and we have even featured it here on this channel some months ago. The hypothesis from authorities is that the birds could have inhaled something toxic or been shocked electrically whilst flying. That sounds logical, right? I mean, I also accepted such an explanation in the past. But when I connect this clip and the one just before it, the previous one sort of makes sense. Now, hear me out. What if these birds were also somehow frozen in the atmosphere and they just dropped when they unfroze? What if whatever glitch that's been happening didn't work well with these birds and they lost control for some seconds after the glitch ended? I mean, I know this is a bit of a wild one, but think about it and let me know your thoughts in the comments section. That doesn't mean we're done with Mars just yet. Take a look at this fascinating capture. The image displays what appears to be a pale head and shoulders wrapped in dark robes. The figure resembles a monk who's in deep meditation on the ground. The photograph has sparked debates among researchers and space enthusiasts about the possibility of life on the red planet. However, it's difficult to confirm the existence of monks or any other life forms on Mars since there is no concrete evidence to support such claims. The planet's harsh environment and lack of oxygen make it an inhospitable place for life to thrive. At least, that's what we've been told. The site has had many talking, but let's take a breather and think of things logically. The planet is supposed to be extremely hot, right? So how could the man be sitting there and meditating? Also, does his presence mean humans made it to Mars, or does it point at the fact that there are species on Mars that look like humans? From a logical standpoint, this is just ridiculous, but then again, we live in a strange and mysterious universe. Anything is possible. For once, almost 95% of the online community where this was originally posted believe it's fake. They think it might have just been taken on Earth or edited. The black and white nature of the footage does little to help its credibility too. I'm tempted to side with those who think it's a hoax, but what do you guys think? Most of the time, when we see strange footage like this, we tend to say it's just a UFO hiding behind clouds, but this time, that's not the case. Someone in Austin, Texas recently shared a video taken on May the 6th, and it's got people talking. In the clip, there's this hazy glowing orb in the sky. At first glance, it doesn't seem too bright. You might assume the source is behind some clouds, but here's the twist. There were no clouds in the sky at all. That's right. The sky was completely clear, and yet this glowing object just hovered up there, suspended in broad daylight. So the person recorded and zoomed in, and what they caught wasn't a reflection or a cloud, it was a glowing object in the sky. Now, this has sparked a lot of speculation. Many are starting to believe that this could be a cloaked one that's somehow malfunctioning, just visible enough to be caught on camera. Could this be one of those crafts we always hear about, operating right under our noses, or in this case, just above our heads? These random doors have been surfacing online for a while now. People keep sharing drone footage showing random doors built right into mountainsides. And some of these doors are placed in the most dangerous spots, right at the edge of cliffs. Anyone who tried to open or walk through one would drop straight to their death. So what's the point of these doors? Some people believe they might be old bunkers built during wartime and now abandoned. Over the years, nature eroded the surrounding structure, leaving just the doors behind in these strange, isolated places. Others think they could still be entrances to hidden tunnels or secret facilities, maybe even bunkers that are still in use today. But then again, some are starting to question everything. With how realistic AI-generated videos and photographs have become, could some of these strange doors be fake? What do you think? A group of urban explorers ventured into one of Chicago's sewers and stumbled upon something truly astonishing. Deep beneath the city, they discovered a mysterious spiral staircase leading to an expansive cave-like underground system. The air was heavy with dust and particles, and stagnant water pooled in places, giving the eerie impression that some kind of construction or excavation had been underway. But what exactly was being built or hidden down there? Before jumping to conclusions, it's worth noting that Chicago's underground tunnels have a fascinating history. In the 1850s, the city faced severe drainage issues due to its swampy terrain. To solve the problem, engineers made the bold decision to literally lift the entire city, building a network of tunnels and sewers to redirect the water. This ambitious project is why these subterranean passages exist today. However, decades or even centuries later, these forgotten tunnels are far from safe. The stagnant water, crumbling structures, and thick polluted air make them hazardous to explore. And who knows what else might lurk in the shadows. Over time, these underground spaces could have become home to all sorts of creatures, natural or otherwise. Venturing into these depths is not just risky, it's a journey into the unknown. A Stanford student recently developed something groundbreaking. It's the world's smallest augmented reality computer, all packed with a single monocle. Yeah, a monocle. You wear it and it interacts with you in real time. It can code, answer questions, translate languages, run apps, and respond to prompts. This is all seamlessly integrated into this tiny device. This innovation is incredibly exciting. Imagine having a powerful assistant right in front of your eye, ready to help with tasks, translate on the go, or even write code. Why didn't they have this when I was still a student? Not that I would have cheated. I mean, I don't condone cheating. Let's move on. It's no secret that the world can be a dangerous place, and let's be honest, it's not exactly easy being a woman either. While harm can happen to anyone, women are often more vulnerable to certain dangers. This isn't to say that men aren't also at risk, but the truth is that men do tend to have certain physical advantages that can make a difference in dangerous situations. Now, there's a new trend going around that may sound strange at first, but the reason behind it is both clever and heartbreaking. Some women have started spraying glitter all over themselves before going out. Why? Well, this all started gaining attention after a shocking case where a murderer was caught because his victim had glitter on her. The glitter stuck to him and became key evidence in tracking him down. Since then, some women have turned glitter into a safety precaution. The idea is simple. If someone gets too handsy or tries anything suspicious, the glitter sticks to them and it's incredibly hard to wash off. It can cling to clothes, skin, and even get into places the attackers won't notice right away. That glitter could end up being the very thing that helps identify them later. Also, cheating husbands won't be able to get away with it either. It's honestly sad that this is what the world has come to. Now, I'm not sure where this was recorded, but it shows a chaotic scene. The alarms of the cars are going off. Just as we're trying to digest the whole thing, something shows up coming from the left side of the frame. It looks like an orb, but not the ordinary ones we see in our clips that are typically just there or transparent. This one appears to have lightning all around it, and it's moving upon the surface of the water. It appears its presence is what's causing the alarms go off, but what is it? Well, we can't be too sure, but the individual who uploaded the clip thinks it's either alien tech or a ball of lightning. While it does look like a ball of lightning, I doubt the cars would have been safe since it's literally electricity moving above water. There's also the alien tech hypothesis, but, well, that will be out of character for aliens. I mean, look at me saying out of character for aliens as though I've met any. On a more serious note, if we're going to use the knowledge we have on aliens, then it's safe to say this isn't how they would normally operate. They're stealthy and wouldn't be drawing attention to themselves in broad daylight. The next logical conclusion will be that this is fake, but I don't want to believe that. I know that's biased, but what do you guys think? Perhaps you can see more objectively than I can. This is exactly why some of us freak out whenever new military technology is released. Just look at these two machines going at each other. It's a drone and a robot dog shooting firecrackers at one another. I think this is some sort of test, but even this looks intense. Both are tirelessly firing at each other with precision. Imagine if they had actual bullets or explosives. The damage they could cause is something I don't even want to think about. I know the tech industry is trying to find alternative means to fight wars and enhance security, but let's not forget that these are machines, gadgets that can be hacked or malfunction. And if that happens, it could turn into something straight out of movies like Creator, M3GAN, Terminator, or even align with the theory of the singularity. While we wrap our minds around that, this woman was driving home and had come to a stop at a junction in her neighborhood when she noticed something unusual.
Look at this. Look at this. There's one there. There's one there. There's one there.
About 3 deer were standing a few feet apart, all facing the same direction and standing eerily still. It was so strange.
There's one there. There's one there. There's one there. They're just standing.
She recorded the clip and uploaded it online, seeking to understand the behavior. Naturally, many in the community were quick to point out this was evidence of a glitch they had been talking about. Others were not sold on it and felt the whole scene might have been staged. Yeah, paid deer actors, or at least realistic-looking ones. Being the open-minded person I am, I did some research, and it turns out that none of those answers are right. Deer actually do this. The eerie stillness of the 3 deer in the neighborhood could be explained by their ability to sense the Earth's magnetic field. A study on roe deer in Europe found that these animals tend to align themselves along a north-northeast to south-southwest axis, regardless of external factors like time of day or habitat. This behavior, known as nonsense orientation, isn't random. It helps maintain group cohesion, especially when fleet in danger. When disturbed, roe deer also tend to run in these same directions, so the deer at the junction might not have been frozen in fear, but simply following their natural magnetic alignment, a behavior seen in other animals like birds. Shocking, I know, but perhaps there's more to the animals around us than we give them credit for. Who knows what other superpowers deer and other animals might have that we have yet to observe or understand.
There's one there. There's one there. There's one there. They're just standing.
Koalas are undeniably some of the cutest creatures on the planet, with their fluffy ears, sleepy eyes, and that chilled-out vibe. They look like little teddy bears you'd want to cuddle all day, but have you ever heard the sound they make? Because once you do, you'll never look at them the same way again. Take a listen to the sound this male koala makes. It's absolutely not what you'd expect. Instead of a soft or playful call, it's this deep, guttural growl. Honestly, if someone played that audio without context, you'd probably think it was a cryptid stalking through a forest or a creature from a nightmare. It's shocking how such a cute, slow-moving animal can produce a sound so intense. If I hadn't seen the footage myself, I would have sworn it was a monster lurking in the dark. Nature is full of surprises. Did you already know they sounded like that? A farmer went out to find his cow tangled up in the wire fence surrounding the property. The cow had hysterically run from the shed nearby and gotten herself caught, so he carefully helped her out. While he was working on the cow, he started hearing noises coming from the same shed she had just bolted from, so he finished up and went to check it out but saw nothing. Even when he took out his phone and panned it around the shed, there was still nothing visibly strange, but here's the creepy part. When he rewatched the footage later, he noticed something he hadn't seen before. By the side of the shed, barely visible through a small gap, something was moving. It's hard to make out exactly what it was, but the shape and size suggested it wasn't a person or a common animal. Some people think this might be related to animal abduction phenomenon or even evidence of a predator lurking. What are your thoughts?
Estaba trabajando ya en el alambre y escuché un ruido acá dentro del galpón, pero no sé qué es lo que es.
A man decided to explore an abandoned asylum. Now, asylums don't exactly have the best reputations, and you can probably guess that his experience was not exactly pleasant. This particular asylum was in Chile, and it's said to be extremely haunted. Many people have reported seeing ghosts wandering the halls, but despite knowing this, the man went one night with his dog. When they arrived, his dog wandered through the building and found a toy car. Strangely, the dog backed away from the car, growling. The man ignored the dog's reaction and left the car on the ground as he continued exploring. Not long after, he started hearing a strange voice that sounded like a woman's echoing through the hallway. Then he heard the toy car's wheels rolling in another room. He kept walking until he came across another building across from the one he was in. Through the window, he saw something terrifying. It was a figure with a pale face and black hair staring directly at him. Its appearance was distorted, and the man managed to snap a few pictures of it. As he looked at the figure, he heard strange voices again. At that point, he'd had enough and left the asylum immediately. Some in the paranormal community believed the spirit was luring him in. Just as well, he left before she was able to. Take a look at the pictures he captured. What do you think that figure is?
Tell me that does not look like a freaking face. Holy
A resident in Los Angeles shared this bizarre footage of something strange in the night sky. It shows two glowing orbs hovering in the air with a beam of light extending down toward the ground. Now, this is odd. It doesn't look like street lights or any normal reflection. And with how bright these things are, it's hard to dismiss it as just a trick of the light. We all know LA and the US has been experiencing a surge in UFO sightings lately. Could this be one of them? Or is there some other explanation for what we are seeing? This Trailcam photograph was taken deep in the Appalachian Mountains, and something about it has people seriously creeped out. Take a look at the tree on the right side of the image. Right underneath it, there's this strange figure. It looks like a person in a long white robe, but it seems to be completely headless. There were no other people reported in the area at the time, so what exactly did the Trailcam capture that night? Could it be some kind of ghostly apparition, a ritual figure, or maybe just a hoax? What do you see in this image? Sydney Sweeney is going viral again, but not just for her looks or acting skills. This time it's because of a video she shared online that had some unexpected backlash. In the clip, she's wearing jeans for a campaign with American Eagle, and while she's conventionally attractive, it's her comments about having good genes that have people talking. On the surface, that might seem like a casual remark, but online many took offense. Some viewers, particularly women of color, felt her comment about good genes was racially charged, especially coming from a white woman in a world where beauty standards have been determined by Eurocentric ideals. To them, it felt like another reminder of who gets to be celebrated for their looks. Some even went as far as calling the video Nazi-coded, referencing how the concept of good genes has historically been tied to eugenics and racial purity rhetoric. Whether that's a fair leap or not, it's clear the internet is divided. Meanwhile, American Eagle is probably not complaining. The stock reportedly saw a significant rise after the campaign went viral, so in a twisted way, the controversy may have worked in their favor. But this raises the bigger question: was Sydney being intentionally offensive, or was it just a poor choice of words blown out of all proportion?
Genes are passed down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color, personality, and even eye color. My genes are blue.
Sydney Sweeney has great genes.
What's going on here? This beetle was seen walking around with a hole in its back, and inside it was dried and hollow. How is it still moving? I know what you're thinking. Zombie, right? But those things aren't real. Yeah? Well, the truth might surprise you. Zombie beetles are actually a thing. In fact, some experts suggest that this could be the work of a parasitic wasp. These wasps are known to lay their eggs inside beetles, and when the larvae hatch, they eat their way out, leaving the beetle hollow. But in some cases, the beetle's nervous system remains intact, allowing it to move despite being essentially dead. Others think it might be a rare case of a beetle surviving severe damage or even a bizarre mutation. But I'm no Julius, and even I can tell that's not what's happening. Either way, what do you think? Next, take a look at this footage that was taken from a farmer's trail camera. On a peaceful night at the farm, a single cow stands, appearing captivated by something. As you watch the video, you see the cow's head tracking an unseen presence. Suddenly, a ghostly figure moves by the cow and then vanishes into the night. A closer look at the footage, and you realize that this ghostly figure looks like a man on a horse. But how? How's that even possible? Aaron thinks it might be the ghost of a rider who may have passed on with his horse in that area. Something like your distressed ghost that can't find peace and is condemned to roam the earth until it does. Julius, however, thinks that's false. He thinks it could just be a man on a horse that's out of focus on a night cam capture. To be fair, cameras struggle at night when it comes to low-light conditions and videos, but what are your thoughts on this? A ghost or the result of a not-so-focused camera capturing an individual on a horse? Please do share your thoughts. This couple took a cute photograph while out on a dinner date, but later they noticed something in the background that completely ruined the mood. Right behind them was a third figure in the shot, and we say figure because, well, honestly, we're not even sure if we can call it a person. It looked humanoid, but the shape was all wrong. The face appeared distorted, almost grotesque, like something out of the nightmare. Its features didn't seem natural at all. No one remembered seeing anyone standing there when the picture was taken, and the figure didn't match any other guest at the restaurant. All we know is that no one wants to see that kind of thing show up on their date night photograph. So what exactly is it? The woman in this photo has invited a few friends over for a casual hangout at her home. It was nothing fancy, just good company, snacks, and some selfies to remember the night. At one point, she posed with one of her friends for a quick photograph. They both looked cozy and happy in the shot, but when she looked at the picture later, something immediately sent chills down her spine. There, just behind them, was what looked like a head floating in mid-air. It wasn't blurry, the head was pale with very defined features. It was facing sideways. The woman was completely spooked. None of her friends resembled that face, and to make things worse, no one else had been standing behind them when the picture was taken. Everyone had been accounted for. The photo was supposed to be just her and this man, so what could that be? It doesn't look like a ghost either, and she's never had any paranormal encounters in a home before, so this is all new to her. What do you think it is? Speaking of supernatural beings, take a good look at this clip. What do you see? While you think about it, well, let me give you a little backstory. So, some kids discovered some homemade clips from their late parents' old stuff. They were typically VHS tapes, and they decided to watch a few. One of the tapes had what you were seeing, and they're convinced that their parents may have encountered and filmed angels. They're not sure why their parents never shared, but they wanted second and third opinions on it. Personally, this feels legit, and I'm tempted to believe the whole thing is authentic, but are we really dealing with an angel, though? That, I will let you guys decide. Someone spotted this strange-looking worm on the ground, and it's a weird one. The body looks like a regular worm, but its head is shaped like a hammer. Ironically, they're actually called hammerhead worms. Now, don't let the odd look fool you. These worms are serious ecosystem killers. They're bad news for the environment because they feed on beneficial earthworms, which are crucial for healthy soil. On top of that, hammerhead worms are toxic to both pets and humans, so touching one with bare hands is not a good idea. And if you try to cut them up, well, they can regenerate. Yeah, chop one into pieces and you'll just end up with more of them, so that's a hard no on slicing them. If you do find one and need to get rid of it, experts recommend using salts or vinegar or sealing it in a plastic bag and freezing it before disposal. Someone shared this weirdest after witnessing something falling straight out of the sky. There was no sign or of a plane or smoke trail that could explain where it came from. And here's the weirdest part. It didn't look like a meteor, a bird, or even debris from a storm. It's rectangular like a door. As usual, theories are flying around on what it might be. Some have argued it could be space debris, whereas others feel it might be part of a UFO or craft. I know some sound extreme, but these days with all the strange things caught on camera, nothing seems too far-fetched. Any thoughts on what you think this mysterious object might be? Someone picked up this bizarre-looking creature and shared it online. Let's just say, it freaked a lot of people out. It looked massive, with a thick, hard shell that almost resembled armor. Underneath that shell, the creature was wiggling around, its legs and body moving in a way that made it look like some kind of insect from another planet. The person picked it up with both hands. That's how big this thing was. People were quick to assume the worst, from an alien to a mutated sea creature and even a cryptid. The internet had all kinds of theories, but the truth is this thing isn't mysterious as it looks. It's actually called a horseshoe crab, and they've been around for hundreds of millions of years, literally. They're considered living fossils. Despite their creepy appearance, horseshoe crabs are harmless to humans. They're usually found along the shores in shallow waters, especially in North America and Asia. So if you ever see one wriggling under its armor-like shell, don't panic. It might look like a creature from another world, but it's very much from this one. We've come across a lot of crazy things on this channel. Some we try to explain, others just leave us with more questions than answers. And this one falls into the "what on earth is going on here" category. In this clip, a man is out in the cold, surrounded by heavy snowfall. He walks up to a mound of snow-covered rock with a small opening, and inside that tiny gap, you can actually see a flame burning. What's even stranger is that this flame sits right in the middle of a waterfall. You can see the water flowing, most of it frozen from the cold, but the flame just keeps going. Well, believe it or not, this isn't CGI. This phenomenon is very real. There are around 9 of these so-called eternal flames across the world, and this one is known as the Eternal Flame Falls, located in New York. These mysterious flames are lit by natural gas that seeps out through cracks in the Earth's crust. When the gas hits the air, it can be ignited, and if the flow is steady enough, the flame can burn indefinitely even under running water. But here's the thing that puzzles scientists. Some of these flames shouldn't even exist, based on what we know. The pressure and temperature underground shouldn't be enough to produce that much natural gas, so how are they burning so strongly? Could there be something deeper going on beneath the surface? Now, this is a clip we've shown before, but we got tagged on it again by someone who didn't like our previous analysis. In my previous analysis, I stated this was likely a big but normal-sized kangaroo, and I went on to state that the perspective of the capture could be responsible for him looking so ginormous. The one who tagged us in the clip did not agree. To him, this is the real deal. A real giant kangaroo hiding in Australia, and the government is trying to keep the word from getting out. This time, I won't share an opinion. I just want to hear what you guys think. Someone snapped this beautiful photo while standing on top of a hill. But when the photo was shared online, viewers quickly pointed out something eerie lurking in the background. There was this pale-looking figure. It appeared to be coming up the hill, only its upper torso visible, and it didn't look human at all. The figure had an almost distorted appearance, with its limbs oddly shaped and its posture unnatural. It blended into the hill just enough that it was easy to miss, but once you saw it, you couldn't unsee it. Some viewers are now suggesting that what we are seeing might be a skinwalker, since they are known to mimic human and animal forms. Others think it could be a glitch in the camera. But is it just a coincidence that this thing showed up right at the edge of the frame halfway up a hill? Very unlikely. But what do you think this figure is? While driving through Mexico, someone captured something strange floating over the mountains right above the peak of a volcano. It looked like a large, silvery, robe-like object hovering quietly in the sky with no obvious movement. Now, the internet is buzzing. Some say it could be a UFO, others believe it might be connected to theories that volcanoes and mountains are hiding secret bases where unknown crafts draw energy straight from the lava. Sounds wild, right? But this isn't the first time people have spotted weird activity around volcanoes. Could this be real UFO activity, or is it just a clever hoax? You decide. Ghosts are described in so many different ways around the world. There doesn't seem to be just one form they take. Some people report seeing translucent human shapes, others talk about orbs of light, shadowy figures, or even strange mists. This particular sighting was shared by a construction worker doing a night shift at a work site. He'd been on high alert because some of his co-workers had already warned him about weird things happening there, so he was extra vigilant. That night, he saw this, a red, glowing round object floating in the sky. It wasn't moving like a drone or a plane, it just hovered, slowly drifting above the site. He was convinced it had to be a ghost or spirit. But people in the local community had different opinions. Some claimed it wasn't a ghost at all, but a UFO, which is mostly seen these days. So what do you think this red floating light was? There are some situations in life that, when you really break them down, don't seem to make much sense. Well, unless you consider that maybe, just maybe, something divine stepped in. Take this security footage for example. It shows a quiet street in what looks like a small neighborhood. A man is walking with a little girl, maybe his daughter, coming from the side and heading towards the roadside. As they approach, something unexpected happens. The man notices a coin lying on the ground. He gently stops the girl beside him and bends down to pick it up. And that's when it happens. Out of nowhere, a car completely out of control comes veering off the road, screeching across the pavement at high speed. It crashes just feet in front of where the man and the little girl were supposed to be standing. The car slams, flips, and skids across the street in a violent crash. Had the man and the girl taken even one more step without stopping, they would have been directly in the path of that car. Was that coin just a coincidence, or was it something more? Could it have been a guardian angel, fate, or something greater that placed it there just in time to save their lives? Because honestly, the timing is too perfect to ignore. As humans, we can contract parasites from all sorts of places, from the food we eat to things we put into our mouths. That's why deworming our systems regularly is so important. Now, take a look at this footage. It shows a person with what looks like a very thin worm-like strands falling from their face. It's deeply unsettling to watch. The way these things drop onto the mirror is very unnerving. But the real question is, where did these worms come from? Are they emerging from under the skin? Are they parasites that have been living inside the body and are now exiting through the surface? While this might seem unbelievable, parasites can do serious internal damage and sometimes work their way through the skin. Some, like certain types of roundworm or filarial worms, can actually live and move beneath the skin's surface, especially in extreme infections. Poor hygiene, contaminated food, undercooked meat, especially pork or fish, and exposure to untreated water are common ways people become infected. In cases where the body becomes overwhelmed and untreated for a long time, the parasites can multiply and spread. Some people even report seeing live worms in their stool, which is extremely uncomfortable. Whatever is happening here, our health can be compromised in many ways, so regular checkups and deworming are more important than we think. Human skin naturally has porous texture and sometimes irregularities, but this case looks far from ordinary. The skin on her face, neck, and chest appears swollen in a way that doesn't look like acne, pox, or any common skin condition. Instead, the surface almost resembles scales or a patterned texture, almost reptilian. Some are saying this is more than just a skin condition. This woman is reportedly one of the many people who believe their bodies are changing into something not entirely human. There's a growing community online that believes in the idea of reptilian transformation, where the DNA is changed to reptilian. This isn't the first time we've seen such strange footage either. Others have posted videos showing their hands developing what looked like slits, pupils narrowing into vertical lines, and even signs of extra limbs or abnormal skin growths. Whether it's due to genetics, mutations, or something else, we may never really know. But not everyone buys it. Some believe these are elaborate hoaxes created with makeup, filters, and digital effects. So is this woman part of some hidden reptilian race living amongst us, or is it all just the internet giving itself a big conspiracy theory? They say curiosity kills the cat, and some people find that out the hard way. A man was casually peeking out of his window, spying on his neighbor in the building across from his, when he caught something strange. He saw a man sitting alone at his dining table, no plate of food in front of him, but beside him was a plate of what looked like noodles. Nothing too weird yet until you look closer. Hovering right above the plate was a fork, and not just floating there, but with a few noodles hanging from it like it was being lifted for a bite. Some people are saying this is a classic party trick. You stick the fork into the food and carefully balance it so it looks like it's floating and freeze it. But others aren't buying it. Some say what we are seeing here could be something more paranormal. Maybe the man wasn't alone at the table. Something unseen was joining him for dinner. Either way, next time, don't go spying on your neighbors through the windows. You might just see something you can't unsee. So someone sent us a link to this video claiming it was a real and living chupacabra. When I saw this message, I rushed so much to open it that I damn well fell over. The uploader spoke about how they had experienced strange and paranormal things before running into this creature. As I listened, my eyes widened. They were filled with excitement and glee. This was finally proof that they were out there. It was at this moment Julius, the know-it-all, walked into the room and smiled too. I asked him if he was finally becoming a believer, and he asked me to look up Xoliotsuintli. If I butchered the pronunciation, well, forgive me, I just discovered they exist. Anyway, after looking it up, I realized this was no chupacabra. It was a unique, ordinary dog. Looks like the search for the chups isn't ending anytime soon. And I won't be giving up either. Back in 2008, this washed up on the shores of Long Island. It looked like a four-legged creature, almost like a dog. But something about it was just wrong. Its face looked distorted, almost terrifying. The body was bloated and lifeless, lying flat on its belly, and its skin had this strange rubbery look to it. People who saw it in person said it didn't look like any known animal they'd ever seen. By the end of the day, the creature had vanished. No one knows who took it or where it went. There was no official retrieval either. That disappearance only made the whole situation mysterious. Some people believed it was just a deformed dog, others said it might have been an unknown species, but a lot of theories pointed towards it being dumped into the ocean at some secret facility and accidentally washed ashore. Some even claimed it was a failed experiment from the nearby Plum Island Animal Disease Center. Since then, it's been nicknamed the Montauk Monster. Whether it was a mutated animal, a lab escapee, or something else entirely, the truth has never been confirmed. But with no body, no study, and no real explanation, all we're left with is speculation and a viral photograph that still haunts the internet. So what do you think the Montauk Monster really was? They say spirits often linger where the bodies died. A man was out one evening when he noticed something strange near an old well. He stayed quiet as he recorded, knowing no one would believe him unless he had proof, and sure enough, it was proof. He added a filter to the footage, and what he saw shocked him. In the video, you can see these dark floating orbs, 2 of them. They move slowly toward the well, each leaving behind a faint trailing mist. But then, something even more chilling happens. One of the orbs seems to shift shape right before the camera. It transforms into what looks like the form of a child hunched over and eerily human-like, with its upper body leaning as if it's about to go down in the well. The second orb hovers for a moment, then floats away from the well, fading into the darkness. Locals say this might not just be a creepy video, but it could be connected to something tragic. Years ago, a young boy was said to have fallen into that very well and never made it out. So this childlike spirit could be his soul. And what about the second orb? Is it another victim or something else entirely? It's hard to say, but one thing is clear. Whatever was caught on that camera was not normal. What do you think? A man had visited Colonial Williamsburg, one of the most historic and reportedly haunted places in America. As he walked through the old buildings, he decided to film his experience, but something about the place felt off. The walls, the air, and even the creaking floors gave off this strange energy. You know when a place just feels heavy? Well, that's exactly what he described. As he made his way down one of the narrow hallways, his camera caught something strange. In the footage, you can clearly see a shadowy figure move across the doorway in the room just ahead of him. But he was completely alone in that building. Startled, he rushed into the room thinking someone might be there, maybe a staff member or another tourist, but the room was empty, not a soul in sight. And yet the footage doesn't lie. You can see the shadow move. So what was it? Or could it have been a spirit lingering from the colonial past?
Look at these. Tell me it's not absolutely horrifying. What the hell? Did you see that shadow? Look at these.
Listen to this audio and tell me what it sounds like. People screaming in anguish, right? Would you believe me if I told you this isn't from a movie? Yeah, it's not. It was allegedly recorded in the deepest borehole in the world. If you didn't know such a thing existed, I didn't know this existed either until I started looking into today's topic. The Kola Super Deep Borehole, drilled by Soviet scientists on Russia's Kola Peninsula, is the deepest man-made hole on Earth, reaching 12,262 meters in 1989. The project began in 1970 to explore the Earth's crust and led to surprising discoveries like water deep underground and unusual rock layers. However, extreme heat and constant technical issues made it nearly impossible to continue. After the Soviet Union collapsed, the project was abandoned in 1992. Today, the site is sealed off, but it still fascinates scientists and curious minds around the world. Not sure which individuals or scientists were able to record this, but if it's true, well, it's eerie. Some who heard the audio think they were sounds from hell, that is, people in torment. I get why they would think that, but is that really the case, especially if this clip is legit? Let's hear your thoughts. I did a double take when I saw this image because, well, this creature looks like something straight out of a nightmare. This eerie-looking being was reportedly photographed back in 1973 in Ireland. Locals were baffled and terrified, and eventually someone gave it a name, Homo gallisberus. It was said to be a strange hybrid between a human and a bird. Its body looked vaguely human in shape, but its head was misshapen and elongated, with sharp features with hollow-looking eyes. Some even claimed it had feathers or scales across its back, giving it an unsettling appearance. There was never a clear explanation for what this thing was. Some thought it was an elaborate hoax, a costume or art project someone cooked up to scare the locals. Others believe it was a cryptid or even the result of a strange mutation. Since then, no other sightings have been confirmed, but the image still circulates even today, and it leaves people just as creeped out as when it first appeared. Do you have an idea what we may be dealing with here? Someone shared this strange footage they took a while ago out in a boat in the middle of the ocean, and it's completely taken over the internet. At first glance, it looks like any regular day at sea, but then these creatures start jumping out of the ocean. At first, people thought they were just dolphins or maybe some large fish until the video was slowed down. In the slowed down footage, you can clearly see what looks like the upper body of a human with shoulders, arms, and even a head, but the lower half is not human. It's a long fish tail. The figure arches through the air, dives back into the water, and disappears just like that. It looks exactly like the classic image of a mermaid. Some people are convinced this is real. Others say it's just CGI or a case of mistaken identity. So what do you think? Real mermaids caught on camera, or just another mysterious ocean illusion? This woman was spotted sitting on a bench at what looks like a peaceful park. She's just calmly watching a game. But then people started noticing something strange. There was visible steam rising from her head. Now keep in mind, the weather appeared to be cold, everyone else was bundled up, and you could see people's breath in the air. But this woman, she wasn't wearing a hat, and her bald head was literally emitting steam. Some are guessing it's a case of a hot flash, especially since she appears to be an older woman. Menopausal heat surges are very real, and they can come on strong and fast. That's the most logical explanation. But others are saying that even for a hot flash, that amount of steam seems excessive. It almost looked like her head was a kettle just taken off from a stove, but she seemed unbothered. She was laughing, relaxed, and even smiled as someone nearby commented on what was happening. So what do you think could be causing it?
When the flash starts flashing and the flash flashes. Flash.
How cursed does a place have to be for this to happen? This video shows rain falling on just one house. The rest of the neighborhood is bone dry, not a single drop. It's like the sky had something personal against this house. Not sure. Some people say this is scientifically possible. Rain clouds can form in narrow paths and drop rain in small isolated areas, but even with that explanation, this just feels off. Some viewers believe there might be more to it. Maybe the house itself is cursed, or on the flip side, maybe the entire neighborhood is cursed to stay dry and this house is the only one being blessed with rain. What do you think is going on here? A family in Mexico decided to spend the weekend at a cabin they owned deep in the woods. It was meant to be a quiet getaway. That night, they were all outside relaxing, playing music, laughing, and enjoying a few drinks under the open sky. Everything seemed fine, until one of them spotted something near the edge of the tree line. At first, they thought it was nothing, but maybe shadows or the flicker of the firelight. But curiosity got the better of them, so one of the family members pulled out their phone, zoomed in, and tried to get a better look. That's when they saw it. There was a pale, humanoid creature peeking out from behind one of the trees. Its skin was grayish and smooth, almost blending into the shadows, and its eyes seemed dark and wide, fixated on the family. But the moment it realized it had been seen, the creature quickly ducked behind the tree and vanished into the night. The mood instantly shifted. What had been a fun, carefree evening turned cold and tense. Everyone had seen it, but no one could explain it. They immediately packed up their things and went inside the cabin, locking the doors behind them. No more music. Now, what was that thing? Could it have been a forest spirit, or perhaps some entity drawn to the noise in the forest? The world is changing. There's a lot more intermarriage across different ethnicities, and we're also seeing the emergence and recognition of various gender identities. And while many people see this as a sign of progress, others believe it's a departure from how things used to be, what they call a dilution of traditional values. In Kansas, a group of people have purchased a large plot of land where they're building what they call a return to the land community, but their rules are strict. Only people of what they define as pure European descent are allowed to live there. No mixed-race individuals, no LGBTQ people, only heterosexuals. So far, about 40 residents have moved in, and the group claims it's slowly growing. They say their goal is to reinstall traditional family values and create a self-sustaining lifestyle with farming and homesteading. It's a move that has sparked outrage and deep concern, especially considering the very clear lines they're drawing about who is welcome and who is not. While they claim it's about preserving culture and values, many critics see it as a dangerous throwback to segregation and exclusion. So, is this just a fringe movement trying to live by its beliefs, or a sign of something more worrying taking shape? Some men were digging when they stumbled upon something massive buried in the ground. It was a giant tusk. This thing was so huge that they had to use an excavator just to lift it out of the earth. Next to the tusks, they also uncovered a large bone. It was thick and long, almost shaped like a human femur, only way bigger than any adult man's. That's when people realized that this wasn't from a regular elephant. Most people believed they'd uncovered what could be the remains of a woolly mammoth. Woolly mammoths roamed the earth during the Ice Age and are known to have vanished thousands of years ago, but finds like this remind us just how massive and powerful these ancient creatures were, and that they might still be waiting, hidden beneath our feet, for someone to dig them back into history. Apart from the usual cryptids we've all heard of like Bigfoot, Dogman, and a handful of other humanoid creatures, there may be even more strange beings roaming the wilderness, some that don't fit neatly into any known category. A woman recently captured something bizarre while out on a hike. She was just about to enter a thick wooded area when she noticed a massive, hairy figure moving between the trees. This thing was big, easily 8 to 9 feet tall with bulging muscles and a hunched, powerful frame. At first, she assumed it was Bigfoot, but as the camera zoomed in, something didn't look quite right. Its posture was different. It was more beast-like than human, and what stood out was its face. If you look closely through the shaky footage, likely due to the woman's fear at the time, you'll notice something unusual. Some viewers claim it looked like a giant rodent or even a mouse-like face. It's difficult to tell exactly what this creature is, but it doesn't match the standard Bigfoot description. So what did she see? Was it a variation of Sasquatch, a misidentified animal, or are there still other humanoid creatures in our forests that we haven't even begun to understand? Maybe not everything we see in movies is pure fiction. Take a look at this creepy footage. A woman shared this security cam footage from her living room, and what it captured was wild. In the clip, you can clearly see the outline of something huge moving right through the room. It looked like it came from the ceiling, slowly making its way across the space. The weird part is, the figure wasn't fully visible. It was just a distorted shape, and it looked like it was cloaked. Not sure if you see it too, but it reminds me of what the Predators looked like when they turned invisible in the movies. Just take a good look. Do you see it too? Well, not everyone in the community is buying this. A number of people actually believe this could be CGI. It's led to a debate, and if you know how these things work in the paranormal community, the debate is not ending now. Anyway, you've seen the clip, so what do you think? Also legit or fake? What is this light floating around the park? Someone shared this eerie footage pulled from a surveillance camera. The camera was facing a quiet neighborhood park when suddenly this bright, glowing light appeared from the left side of the frame. It moves slowly and smoothly across the park like it's scanning the area, then makes a gentle curve and glides right back the way it came. The movement is so precise, almost intelligent, and the light itself doesn't resemble a flashlight, drone, or any ordinary light source. There's no sound either, just this strange orb drifting through the night. Some people say it's a sign from above, like an angelic presence or a spiritual being showing itself. Others think it might be CGI. These days, with how good editing software is, well, it's hard to know what's real and what's not. But the timing, the smoothness, and even the silence of this glowing figure give off that strange and eerie feeling. What do you think? Speaking of strange captures at night, take a good look at this one. What do you suppose the eyes moving in the darkness belong to? The uploader didn't tell us much because he was shaken. This is the last thing he expected to capture on his property, and, well, he wanted to know what he should do. Some of my team members think it's fake, whereas others think it's someone messing with him. But what do you guys see, though? These days, you never really know who or what you might see walking down the street. Even if someone looked completely human, things aren't always what they seem. Someone recently shared this eerie security footage from private property. The area was completely barricaded, and just outside the gates, a car should be seen driving back and forth like normal, but then something strange happens. A security guard watching the live feed from the monitoring room notices a person walking inside the empty yard. The figure is moving calmly along the wall of the property. At first glance, it looks just like a person, but the guard is confused. The property is secured, no alarms went off, no gates were opened. So how did they get in? Then things got even weirder. As the figure reaches the corner of the wall and turns around to walk back, something impossible happened. When they got to the middle of the yard, the body began melting into darkness, and within seconds, they completely disappeared into a shadowy, smoky form and vanished. The security guard was stunned. There was no intruder to confront. So what do you think that was? A Trailcam owner was reviewing some photographs from his device when he stumbled upon a series that left him seriously unsettled. The first two images were just what you'd expect, pictures of a deer walking through the woods at night, but the third image is where things took a strange turn. At the right side of the frame among the trees was what looked like the faint figure of a small child. Here's the thing. It was deep in the woods. There were no homes nearby and no reason for a child to be out there, especially not that late at night. The area is so remote that the idea of a kid just wandering around out there feels almost impossible, but it gets weirder. In the second image, the deer is looking off to the right as if something has caught his attention. And when you compare that image to the third one, it seems like the deer may have been staring right at the faint shape of that girl. Then in the final shot, the deer is seen bolting away from her. The figure of the girl looks translucent. So was this a real child somehow lost in the woods? Or are we looking at an apparition? Festivals and celebrations are often deeply symbolic and meant to honor, remember, or even ward off certain entities. But sometimes what's supposed to be just tradition takes a strange turn that makes people question if there's more going on beneath the surface. In Latin America, there's a celebration tied to the legend of El Cucuy. It's a mythical, boogeyman-like figure said to come from those who misbehave. During this festival, people create an effigy or image of El Cucuy, and in a symbolic gesture of releasing their troubles, they set it on fire. It's meant to represent giving their problems to this entity, letting go of fear, guilt, or hardship. In one such celebration, firefighters were present to monitor the ritual and ensure the community stayed safe, and one of them decided to record the event, and what they captured sent chills down everyone who watched the clip's spine. As the camera panned upward over the burning effigy, a strange shape appeared in the sky. It looked like a figure floating in the air wearing a long robe, arms stretched wide. Some viewers even claimed they could see another person-like shape just behind the first figure. For those who believe in the legend, this was no coincidence. Many said it was El Cucuy himself, rising to accept the problems of the people, just like the tradition says. Others, more skeptical, chalked it up to smoke patterns, a trick of the light, or maybe even some clever editing. But in the moment, it looked too real to ignore. So what do you believe this is? If I paid you $1 billion to transport dead bodies and organs, would you do it? On second thought, that's the wrong question to ask. $1 billion is a lot, but I know you get the question I was trying to ask. Transporting dead bodies or body parts is one of those jobs that can get pretty eerie pretty quickly, and the woman on your screen right now knows all about it. In this clip, she was transporting a box with a body in it. It was supposed to be a quick, easy trip, but listen. was whispering and scratching coming from within the box. She recorded it and shared it online, seeking the opinions of people. Not sure she needed them because she's an expert in all, but she shared anyway. As with all these things, the paranormal community picked up and argued that the spirit of whoever was in the box is agitated and causing the sound. While some agreed, others felt that perhaps the individual was not fully dead. Someone was quick to point out, however, that it was not a full body but a torso with no arms. There was no way anyone would be alive in that state. Given the puzzling nature of this case, I swallowed my pride and went at Julius, our in-house science genius, who doesn't hesitate to let me know he's smarter, and he helped out. According to him, a dead body can appear to move due to natural post-mortem processes like rigor mortis, where muscles stiffen and occasionally contract, causing slight shifts in limbs or fingers. As decomposition begins, gases build up inside the body, sometimes creating enough pressure to make it twitch, reposition, or even to sit up in rare cases. He also stated that nerve endings may also fire briefly after death, causing jerky movements that look disturbingly lifelike. So there you have it, Julius's take. Does that not explain the whispering, though, or does it? This woman shared a strange and unsettling encounter she had in her home. She was completely alone with her baby, who had been sound asleep for about 2 hours. Everything was calm, and she was just watching TV when she suddenly heard something unexpected. One of her baby's toys had turned on by itself. Confused and a bit alarmed, she walked into the room to check. The toy was upright and playing, positioned away from the baby's crib and facing the opposite direction. But the baby was still deeply asleep and facing away from the toy. There was no way the baby could have activated it. The woman was freaked out. She turned the toy off, placing it down, and left the room. But things didn't end there. As she sat back down in the living room, she began recording herself recounting what had just happened. And while she was speaking, something else occurred. A strange sound came through, first 2 faint beeps, then a pause, and then 2 more. It wasn't coming from her phone or the TV. It sounded like something electronic nearby. She stopped mid-sentence, realizing she had no explanation for the noise. At that point, she started yelling out loud, challenging whatever was messing with her, and then the video ends. She believes something in her house was there, but some viewers think it's all just a hoax or maybe a trick of the electronics. But what do you think?
Like, if I were to... What the f*** was that? Okay, my whole body. No. What is that? Nope. Nope. I told you to get out.
There are times when we come across strange things that just don't make sense, so people immediately chalk it up to a glitch in the Matrix. That's exactly what happened when a woman noticed something odd on the surface of her swimming pool. There was a perfectly straight line across the water. It looked almost like a tear or a seam right on top of the water. But when she tried to ripple the surface, the line didn't disappear. People online were convinced this was a glitch in the Matrix, but as mysterious as it looked, there was actually a scientific and practical explanation. It turns out that the line was formed by the currents of 2 different water jets meeting in the pool. The force from each jet created a boundary line that looked solid even though it was just moving water. So while this one isn't paranormal, sometimes even the most ordinary things can appear unreal at first glance. A homeowner shared this eerie security footage from back in 2023, and honestly, it's the kind of clip that makes your skin crawl. It was late at night when the camera caught something darting across the yard. At first, it looked like a person running past, but the more you look, the stranger it gets. The figure was unnaturally fast, and instead of looking like a solid human body, it appeared more like a dark shadow gliding through the yard. At first, the family thought it was an intruder and was understandably alarmed, but after reviewing the footage in slow motion, they realized that this wasn't a normal person. There were no distinct limbs or shoes hitting the ground. Rather, it was a fast-moving, shadowy form. Some are saying it could be a spirit or even some kind of interdimensional being. Others think it could just be a glitch. But for the family, knowing that thing passed through their yard in the dead of night has left them uneasy ever since. What could it be? You think that when it comes to powerful organizations like the CIA and the Chinese government, which are two of the most intense and influential entities in the world, there would be at least some level of formality and diplomacy, but, apparently not anymore. What we're seeing now feels like a full-on digital war with propaganda battles and not just the usual statements and press releases, but straight-up AI-generated videos and cinematic attacks. The US recently put out propaganda videos featuring a Chinese man who agrees to work with the CIA to spy on China. It meant to paint the CIA as the good guys and provoke the Chinese, but of course, China did not take that lightly. In response, they created their AI-generated video targeting the US. It portrays greedy American officials who don't care about their people and even includes accusations about Israel pulling the strings in Washington. At the end of that video, they put a bold message: fight for freedom. It's wild and petty, but also intense, and honestly, when you look beyond the dramatics, there seems to be a bit of concerning messaging on both sides, and these are things that were considered conspiracies, which is probably why people are going crazy over the clips online. What do you think? Are these propaganda battles just theatrics, or is there a deeper message we should be paying attention to?
只是换了方法，无论我的未来将会是什么。
争取一个真正的未来，用我的方式改变这个国家。
Well, it looks like we might not need jazz musicians anymore, and yes, you should be concerned about that. Scientists have officially played God again, and this time with popcorn. That's right. They've created something called the Jazz Popcorn Robot, and as ridiculous as that sounds, it works. Here's how it goes. When popcorn is being made, it pops at random intervals with varying force. Well, someone decided to harness that. They developed a robotic system that listens to the popping rhythm, detects the timing and volume, and uses it to trigger jazz-like percussion sounds. You get what sounds like a spontaneous jazz performance made entirely from the rhythm of popcorn popping. Sure, it's clever and funny, but also a little unsettling. At first, AI is making music, now our snacks are doing it too. What's next? Your microwave dropping a lo-fi album? So, jazz musicians, be warned, your replacement might be in the bag of kernels. But is this innovation, or are we just getting way too bored? Have you heard of the Crescent Hotel? It's been called one of the most haunted hotels in America. Someone visited the hotel and took this photo. At first, it looks like a normal picture taken of a glass wall, but when you look closer, right through the glass, you'll notice something unsettling. There's a pale face of a little girl pressed against the glass. Her expression is blank, almost frozen, and her eyes seem to stare directly into the camera as if she's staring into your soul. What makes it even creepier is that no children were around at the time. Now, given the Crescent Hotel's dark history and its time as a hospital where some very questionable medical experiments were performed, many believe this little girl might be one of the spirits still lingering behind. Ghost sightings at the hotel have been reported for decades, but this photo adds an eerie visual to the legend. So, is that a ghost child? This footage has gone viral ever since it was shared online. It was captured by a man who was out fishing when he suddenly noticed something strange in the water staring right back at him. At first, it looked like a face, but what really unsettled people was the expression. It appeared to be smiling with this haunting, wide grin that felt far too intentional for any ordinary animal. As expected, the internet ran wild with theories. Some thought it might be a cryptid, others said it looked like a sea monster. A few even joked that it resembled some kind of cursed spirit trapped in the water. Whatever it was, it gave everyone the creeps. But after some digging, people started to believe it might actually be a fish, just not your average fish. The most reasonable explanation is the arapaima, also known by some as the fish of death. The arapaima is one of the largest freshwater fish in the world. It can grow over 8 feet long, and its face has a strangely human structure with a gaping mouth that, in certain lighting, really does look like a grin. It's native to the Amazon, but has shown up in unexpected places due to illegal releases or exotic fishing trade. So maybe this isn't a cryptid after all. Maybe it's just nature being naturally terrifying. Still, if you saw that face staring back at you in the dark water, would you really stick around long enough to figure out what it was? A man had recently rented an apartment on the top floor of a building, and one evening he was just outside his room when he noticed something strange on the floor at the end of the hallway. It was a small hatch built into the ground. Curious, he walked over and opened it, assuming it might be for maintenance or possibly a hidden staircase, but what he found was far more unsettling. There was no staircase, no ladder, no railing, nothing. Just a square-shaped opening that dropped straight down, and he could see all the way to the street far below. No barriers, no signs, no warning, just a vertical pit that cut through the entire building like a forgotten elevator shaft, left completely exposed except for the metal hatch covering it. What kind of building design is this? Was it an old utility shaft, a dumbwaiter system that was never sealed up, or something far more dangerous that was simply neglected over time? Who knows? But that looks very dangerous.
An orangutan hired a hitman to get revenge on her childhood bully and actually paid him. Researchers had been studying a group of wild orangutans in Indonesia for 13 years. In 2009, they saw a younger female named Condor approach an elder named Sidoni to see her baby. She was attacked for getting too close, and Condor would apparently never forget that moment and turned it into a long-standing grudge. Now, female orangutans are usually incredibly peaceful to each other, so this grudge shocked researchers. But Condor was about to really escalate.
Wow.
5 years after Sidoni's attack, Condor had her first child, which soon passed away, all while Sidoni was happily raising her second. Shortly after losing her own, Condor recruited a massive male named Echo to act as a hired gun. Together, they went into Sidoni's territory and found her with her newest baby. For over 30 minutes, they worked as a highly coordinated hit squad, with Echo attacking as Condor blocked escape routes. And when the attack was over, Condor and Echo were seen mating, which researchers believe was his payment.
Wow. Is that evolution in progress? I mean, nobody's ever turned around and said that these aren't intelligent animals. And we know that monkeys rape and kill and murder and do all sorts of stuff. So, yeah, we getting Planet of the Apes here? I'm not sure. What do you think?
Condor recruited a massive male named Echo to act as a hired gun. Together, they went into Sidoni's territory and found her with her newest baby. For over 30 minutes, they worked as a highly coordinated hit squad, with Echo attacking as Condor blocked escape routes. And when the attack was over, Condor and Echo were seen mating, which researchers believe was his payment.
When the sun is out, I'm gonna grab hold of a motorcycle and I'm gonna find somewhere to have some lunch. Now, which bike am I gonna go on? Doesn't that make me sound like a spoiled brat? The fact I got more than one motorcycle. Or just obsessive. It's obsessive. It's an obsession. That's what it is. Anyway, if you got any videos, you got anything that you think you can give us to us at classifiedcaptures@gmail.com. Tell everybody to do the same. We want to hear from you. Give us shout outs. Give us everything that you possibly can. I love the fact that the comment section is becoming such a community. Thanks to the likes of Santa and all you guys out there doing your thing. And whoever, Scuba Steve. I'm still trying to figure out what the hell Scuba Steve means. Who is Scuba Steve? I gotta look that up. I've gotta remember to look that up. My name's Steve. This has been your dose of classified captures for this episode. Now do me a favor. Share this with as many people as you can. We want more subscribers. And I'll see you in the next one.